Welcome back, Kuma Crew. It is once more your favourite friendly despair bear, Annakuma, and today we're back with yet another demo review because we're getting good at clearing out the giant backlog of these I have. Today, as you've seen in the title, we're reviewing what Dave Seaman, and I hope I'm not the only bear that grew up in 90s Britain that is giggling at the name and suddenly remembered that the Pringles guy was once the goalkeeper for the English national football team. And Lorenzo Bilney, sorry I have no unfunny joke or reference to your name, I just probably said it wrong, that's about it. Can cook up when they come together to create Captain Disaster in the two worlds of Riskara. Now, this is a sequel to Captain Disaster in Death Has a Million Stomping Boots. I have yet to play this game, but it looks much different to its sequel, and I do own it and have it downloaded, so by the time this video is out, or at least the two worlds of Riskara is out, I should have played it, and maybe even have a review cooking up for that game. Obviously though, that being said, I'm basically going in blind to the Captain Disaster world with this demo, so let's see how it fares. Now, to begin with, you might be asking, but Annakuma, why did you make a stupid reference that was meant to be a joke that failed about 90s goalkeeper David Seaman, a joke that only Worte will probably understand, and now you are bringing up this reference again for no real reason? Well, that is because there is a reason. Captain Disaster in the two worlds of Riskara is full of bad jokes and weird references. It genuinely tells you that on the game description on Steam. And whilst one joke did drag on, the rest of the game is glorious. Yes, I actually ended up loving the quest to find all the references I could and snorted at a good handful of the jokes. And as we all know, the perfect dad joke is a snorter. It honestly felt like playing a game my Twitch chat would create, if any of them could create anything other than witty responses to my bad gameplay on my stream. That being said, we're getting ahead of ourselves, so let us talk about the actual demo itself, shall we? We start the game with a very Star Trek-y opening, just to be dumped on a beach somewhere far into the Caribbean, with a very familiar feeling theme playing. We zoom down to find ourselves talking to Wilson from Castaway, just he's actually talking back and trying to get us a cocktail. So that's both Monkey Island and Castaway ticked off the reference list. The cocktail joke is the one joke I didn't like in this game. It was just overly long, and with the game not being voice acted, it could have done with a skip after the first two you have to mandatorily press, or just being a little faster. I appreciate the jokes, I appreciate what they went for, but it just felt too long for me. When Wilson finally buggers off and gets us our drink, he'll morph into a beautiful babe before we go back to our ship, and yes, this is a Red Dwarf Better Than Life reference, and I love it. Our ship's computer tells us they're receiving a distress call from a nearby ship. I wrote that at some point there is a Trotter Enterprises mentioned, which would probably be a nod to Only Fools and Horses, but we basically are beamed down to a ship to help its inhabitants get off. The inhabitants are four slug-like aliens called Gaspodians, who are being imprisoned on the ship. They tell you that their world is being enslaved by another race, and they were on their way to be forced to do hard labor, and we decide to help them. After a few decent puzzles and a bunch more references, the demo will end with the four slugs free and stealing your ship. Story-wise, I give the demo a big thumbs up. It is a very comedy sci-fi predicament, and honestly just felt like something that would happen in Red Dwarf. There are a bunch of moments and jokes that made me feel like someone sat down and watched the entire series again just before writing it, and even the comedy between the computer and Captain Disaster himself felt very Red Dwarfish. If not Holly, the ship computer, and Dave, at least Dave and someone else. It worked for me, and I liked how they ended on a cliffhanger. Too many demos have this perfect cutoff point, then overshoot the demo because they want to show you more, but Captain Disaster gave you a nice easy set of puzzles, well, bar one, to get you ready and then cut you off at the perfect time. 10 out of 10, I did play this demo twice. I keep saying this, and I don't know a better way of saying it, but the gameplay is the standard modern point-and-click affair. The cursor will change to what it needs to be over any given item or hotspot. You are just clicking and pointing. All the hotspots are nice and big, and I feel the art style really helps work towards not hiding anything in a pixel hunting kind of way. Anything that looks interactable, even if it isn't story related, will usually have a hotspot, and at least a fun comment to go along with it. Again, it's a game that uses the puzzles to highlight the comedy and the fun of the game. You'll be making a chocolate chip cookie for this guy here. So breaking up the chocolate of a broken chocolate bar, grabbing the cookie mix, slapping them together in your inventory, and then cooking it on the computer panel you broke to overheat is a decent pathing to get to what you need to do, and it works with the humor of the game. If any of that made sense. Again, it won't tax you overly hard, but it does have various other puzzles that can be slightly more taxing. In the end, you need to wire up this energy cell to get 2 of the slug prisoners out, and honestly, I was stumped on this for ages. I'm usually very good at these types of puzzles, but I've been slacking recently in them, and very nearly gave up on it. Personally, I feel this shows that Captain Disaster will end up having a good variety of puzzles. Maybe not a whole bunch, but a big enough variety that will keep you interested throughout. That being said, I feel the gameplay was just okay, and that's fine. I do hope it stays fine and doesn't drop to boring. This might seem like I'm not endorsing it or I didn't enjoy it. I did, and I can't really tell you why I just class it as fine, but fine works when the game is so heavily hanging on you enjoying the humor of it. Unfortunately, I think this is where the game might have problems. Have you ever heard of the Marmite problem? In the UK, Marmite is taglined as you'll either love it or hate it. There is no in between because the taste is so strong that you'll either love it or indeed hate it. Now, in reality, people are probably just indifferent to Marmite. But if you are indifferent to it, then are you going to put in hours into Marmite to see if on the other side of Marmite you enjoy it? Captain Disaster really does have a very love it or hate it feel to it, especially with how much it references other things. I didn't get a full playthrough of the demo on stream because it was the final demo I did in a stream full of technical issues and crashes, and I just gave up, but the little I did do didn't seem to be sitting well with some in my chat. I saw much more of the game, and I feel it leveled itself out much more after, but I do feel some people will be fed up with the humor and references much faster than I will be. There have been plenty of debate online in adventure game spheres about references in games, and I always feel it is kind of cold when people take the just don't do it attitude, because I feel done right, people feel a nice little warm feeling inside when they get on the same wavelength of the creator and can see a reference to something they love in a moment they don't necessarily need to see. Much like the Red Dwarf reference in its Grim Up North. To this day I will remember it because Red Dwarf, if you haven't guessed from me mentioning it 20 times already in this review, is one of my favorite shows. It didn't have to be there, it was there, and I love it for it. That being said, there is a point where clicking on everything just to see a reference to something else gets tedious. Now, to be fair, this was basically the intro, and then a garbage tip, and the rest of the game didn't really do that much other than having a Shakespeare machine, and maybe some offhand remarks, but I guess that is my big fear for the game, that it will get to the point even I don't care for the references and want it to stop. Overall though, I feel the demo shows a game that is gonna be, if anything, a good jaunt around space with some interesting characters and some fun little puzzles. It doesn't have to be any more than that either. So, if you like sci-fi, grew up in the 90s, and like bad jokes like I do, I recommend the game. If not, I still recommend it if you like point-and-click games and give it a chance. Captain Disaster doesn't have a release date yet, but as always, I'll drop the Steam page in the description below, and wishlisting really helps small games, so give them a wish list. That is it for me today though, Cubs. If you want to support this bear right here, then please feel free to leave a like, comment on how much you like your references in your video games, and give me a subscribe because numbers being big makes my heart grow 2 sizes. It was a very small heart to begin with, so I'm not going to have a heart explosion soon, hopefully. Just keep clicking those buttons. You can also give me a follow over on twitch.tv/Annakuma with 2 A's at the end, where I play a bunch of games, mainly point-and-click games, all year round, 5 days a week. Until next time though, thank you as always for watching, and bye-bye.